Good morning, everybody. Well, we're back. We're live. We're in North Palm Beach, Florida, and we're going to tell you how not to get ripped off by a car dealer if you're going out to buy or lease a car right now. We've been doing this for about 20 years. Appreciate all you folks that we have a lot of regular listeners, and I have to get out of the habit of saying listeners. We've got viewers, probably more viewers. Well, when you view, you listen, but we have a lot of folks on Facebook. We have a lot of folks on, well, biggest thing we have is YouTube. I start saying YouTube first. You know, it used to be Facebook was the big thing, but YouTube became a Goliath, and it's amazing the number of followers we have. They watch us and listen to us. YouTube.com/Earl on Cars. Got Rick Kearney in the studio with me. He's the certified diagnostic master technician, the genius when it comes to diagnosing the car you're driving. He could tell you how to fix most anything you have wrong with your car, and if he does know the answer, we'll get it for you. But he's got the answer about 99% of the time. He monitors our YouTube account, so he'll watch that. So any of you do-it-yourselfers or people that are worried about a squeak, rattle, or roll in your car, and you fear the thought of having to bring it into a car dealer and spend $1,000 to fix something that maybe doesn't need fixing, if you fall into that category, give Rick a check on YouTube, or you can call the station too, but youtube.com/Earl on Cars. Rick will see it directly. If you'd just like to call the show, and we'd love to have you call the show, in spite of YouTube and all the other high-tech digital stuff, we're still a radio show, and the verbal is something I don't think is ever going to be replaced, the instant communication, and you can feel the person, you feel the attitude, the intelligence, or lack thereof, on both sides, I might add. But I mean, there's something about a real old-fashioned phone conversation. And we got one of those old-fashioned phones. It's 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. And we prioritize that. It's so important to us that Nancy Stewart, and she's in the studio, she's sitting on my left, and co-founder of the show, by the way, about 20 years ago, strong female advocate, and she's brought the female listeners and viewers up to parity. We're at 50-50 now. The ladies are right in there with us guys, and they are amazing when they call the show. We still need more, and Nancy Stewart has a special offer. I'm going to turn the mic over to Nancy in just a minute, and if you ladies are out there, listen carefully. Even if you don't want to call the show, you might want to hear it because maybe you know a woman that might want to call the show. We have a really strong incentive if you call the show today. Now, we have a special channel that is youranonymousfeedback.com, and it is just what it sounds like. You want to preserve your anonymity. You don't want to be have your name bandied about, or you don't want people to know who you are when you call. A lot of reasons for that. Privacy is a big issue, and a lot of people are really big on privacy. And so we got that for you. Total privacy. Say anything you like at youranonymousfeedback.com. Youranonymousfeedback.com. And that comes in to us directly, and we don't know who you are, where you are. We can't find you. A lot of times, the anonymous feedback people identify themselves, which is fine too. I don't know why they do that, but it's a great channel if you'd like to say something and you just don't want to be hassled. No one's going to call you, email you, text you. You can say what you have to say and get it off your chest, and you're done. Youranonymousfeedback.com. Love to hear from you. I was going to remind the people who haven't called the show or think about calling, the priority we give to the phone calls. We've only got 5 lines coming in, and it's either quiet or crazy here in the studio, and what happens is people seem to call at the same time. So I stop talking. If we had a phone call right now, Nancy would tap me on the shoulder, and we would take your call. If Rick is talking, anybody talking, we will stop and prioritize the phone call. And we appreciate your understanding that when we do have them backed up, sometimes we have to ask you to call back next week because we want everybody to have their turn. And if we have all of our lines tied up, people get a busy signal. And I hate it when that happens, when people can't get through the switchboard. So 877-960-9960. That's our phone number, 877-960-9960. Probably ought to write it down because you probably haven't thought of anything right now. You might think of something later. And if you wrote it down, you could just call 877-960-9960. And you're here, and we will talk to you. And we'd love to hear your opinion. The good, the bad, the ugly. Don't tell us what we want to hear. Tell us what you truly believe. And if you want to be critical, that's great. I mean, we've got some great callers out there that have changed the show. I mean, we don't do the show the same way we used to, and we evolve. We get better. We like to think. So if you got some ideas on how to make the show better, just call us at 877-960-9960. I'm going to give the mic to Nancy in just a second. I forgot probably, and I do this because I get used to it, the mystery shopping report. And my apologies to all you folks that know all about the mystery shopping report because we've been doing it every week. We've been doing it every week for 20 years. We send an undercover agent. Our current incredibly talented mystery shopper is a person we codename Agent Lightning. Agent Lightning goes out every week, and she goes to Pennsylvania and Tennessee and Florida mainly, and she shops dealers all over Florida. And she pretends to buy or lease a car. And then she tells us what happened. It's in a written report, exactly what happened a few days ago. It's always current. And we grade the show we grade the dealership on the show, and we give them A, B, C, D, or F for failure, grade on the curve. It's very interesting. We name names, we name dealerships, and even if the dealer isn't near you, I promise you the profile and the activity of these dealers is very representative of the dealers in your area. Unfortunately, most of the reports are not too good. I mean, I'll be honest with you. We have a recommended dealer list and a do not buy from this dealer list, and that's on earloncars.com. I know I'm giving you a lot of stuff to write down. I apologize, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. earloncars.com, we list recommended dealers and dealers you should not buy from. And that's very helpful. So stay tuned. The last part of the show, last half hour, we typically do the mystery shopping report. And if you don't listen to anything else, if you're busy, Saturday, a lot of stuff to do, drive around, have fun. You got a break on Saturday, I hope, and you can enjoy yourself. But if you can make our show part of it, I promise you this mystery shopping report will knock your socks off if you haven't heard it before. Okay, now I turn the mic over to my wife, Nancy, and my co-host, and she's got some good news for you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This morning, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. Yes, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. And for those of you that have been instrumental in getting us to where we are today, I just want to thank all the ladies and all of you that have called, all of you that have sent me thank you cards, and we appreciate you helping us get into the right direction. We have a whole lot to get to, as Earl said. Mystery Shopping Report, we have our Dog of the Week, and that's via a video. And I want to give a shout out to Elsa, who is a volunteer out at Big Dog Ranch, and she will be emceeing the video for us and telling us all about Paco. And also, if you want to jot this down, you can take and you can adopt from the Big Dog Ranch, and you can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org, and you can go there and you can take a look at all the dogs, and most of all, you can take a look at Paco, which is a large breed, mixed breed dog, and he is a real cutie pie, so you can stay tuned for that. That'll happen just about, I'll say 10 minutes before the mystery shopping report. that we are going to have. So, with all of that said, stay tuned, buckle up. We're going to have a great time. And you can also give us a call at 877-960-9960. And you can also text us at 772-497-6530. YourAnonymousFeedback.com. Take advantage of it. We are going to go straight to the phones, and we're going to talk to Bob from Lake Park. And Dawn, if you would please give us a call back, I'll take your call right away. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody this wonderful day?
We're great.
Good. Okay. I just wanted to put it out there. First of all, Palm Beach County Animal Shelter is in dire straits. They have way too many pets down there and not enough capacity.
Yeah.
And they just announced that they may have to rework their program of putting the animals to sleep.
Yeah.
I just think it's a shame. And then I also heard that Furry Friends up in Jupiter now is no longer taking any pets in because their adoption is way down. People are not adopting pets. So I know you're a big supporter of the Big Dog Ranch, but I just thought I'd mention that.
Well, I appreciate that, Bob. Why do you suppose that is? I've seen the same thing on the news, that there seems to be a surge of people bringing their pets into the Palm Beach County shelters.
Well, I got a pretty good idea why.
Why?
I mean, I have three cats. I told you I have cats. Well, the cost of pet ownership has become very expensive. I mean, you go to the vet, so every time you have to take them to a vet, you know, it's very expensive, and the food, everything is going way up.
I see.
On that end. If you look at the latest inflation numbers that came out, and you look at the categories of what's going up the most, I think I discussed this with you once before about how car repair has gone way up. Well, also pet food. Pet food is going through the roof.
Yeah, makes sense.
going through the roof. So, you know, the Palm Beach County Animal Shelter, I think they said they have capacity for 140 dogs, and they have 240 dogs.
Yeah, and they have to euthanize dogs if they don't have space, and based on how long they've been there. So thanks very much for bringing that up.
I just thought I'd mention it, and, you know, if any of your listeners, you know, I appreciate what Big Dog Ranch does, and I think they do a wonderful thing, but they're not the only ones that are having issues here to get pets adopted, and I just thought I'd put it out there.
Bob, one good thing about Big Dog Ranch that I should mention is that they do not euthanize any dogs.
I know that.
When they take a dog in, they keep that dog. They've actually had dogs that I know personally about that have been there for 2 or 3 years. Sometimes their dogs are just difficult to find a home for, but they just keep them there until they do find the home, and they eventually always do.
Yeah, well, for some particular reason, I don't know why it is, but Palm Beach County, which has an enormous amount of money, the county does, has never done a lot of money. Yeah. They've never done anything to expand that. They only had that one facility down on Belvedere. I don't know if you've ever been over there. It's not very large.
Yeah.
It's old. They haven't really put any money into doing anything on that end, you know. And so I'm a little disappointed in that. I don't know. If you know any of the county commissioners, you might want to make a phone call. You might have more leverage than I do.
That's a great idea. I think anybody out there to call the Palm Beach County Commission, because that's disgraceful that they would not fund something as important as, they literally have to kill these dogs, and to allow that to happen when all they have to do is vote some more money to build and expand the shelter they have. But that's great, Bob. Thanks for suggesting that.
Matter of fact, they used to have a truck that used to go around and cover the north end up here that would do the spade and neutering, and they did away with that about.
Terrible.
Hey, Bob, we got to get to our next caller. Thanks a lot for that very important message, and I will repeat it during the show. And thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
you guys
you, Bob.
have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Same to you. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to get to our next caller, and that's Mary. She's calling us from Pompano. Good morning, Mary.
Hi. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Earl. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for all you do. I've called before. I have a family member that had a car accident. Clearly, she was rear-ended. The other car's insurance company paid for the whole thing. However, now we're seeing some articles about filing diminished value claims, and they're talking about getting the car evaluated as to how much it's been diminished. It didn't have to be towed. The other guy was totaled. It was a Subaru. It had damage to the bumper and the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
But can you give me some guidance as to how we should go about this? Should we go to a dealer to get an evaluation or somewhere else?
Well, sure. Today's market, you should be able to get top price. You can shop the car to see, because dealers will appraise the car even though it's damaged. And what the insurance company should do is reimburse them for what it would cost to replace that particular year, make, model car, or one just as good. In worst case scenario, you can contact an attorney. They work on commission. You wouldn't have to be out of pocket. But there are attorneys out there, quite a few of them, as a matter of fact, that specialize in diminished value claims. So if she feels the insurance company is not being fair, then she needs to, first of all, she can establish the cost to replace that car herself just by shopping locally. And it will be high because of the high price of used cars today. And if she's still not getting a fair treatment from the insurance company, she can check with the local attorneys. Gordon Donner, they used to do a whole lot of commercials on that. I'm not sure if they do, but if they do, most local attorneys love diminished value claims.
Oh, okay. That's so important. I've never even heard of it before until I read it, and I figured I'd ask you guys. So, can I ask you, Gordon Donner? How do you spell his last name?
I think it's Gordon. I think Donner's gone and Gordon is there. Gordon and Partners, yeah, Gordon and Partners, Gorden and Partners, and they're all over television. And we've worked with them at our dealership. We have a collision repair facility, and sometimes the insurance company wouldn't treat the customer fairly, and we'd have the car, and we would say, your insurance company is about $2,000 low, and you should be able to be reimbursed by this. And Gordon Partners would usually make a phone call or two, and it doesn't take very long at all because the insurance companies know when they're not being fair, and they don't want a lawsuit, so they can usually get things straightened out in a hurry.
Oh, that's great to know. So the best thing to do, though, really would be to go to one of the dealers, the Subaru dealers.
Yeah, you can establish. You say I have this car. Let's say she had a 2010 or 2015 Honda Accord. She could describe it and see what the dealers would pay for it. And that would represent what it would cost her to replace it. At least it'd be a minimum. Actually, it would cost her more to replace it because they would mark it up for retail. But that would also establish whether they are being fair or not. And she might find out, yeah, well, they are being fair, and then you don't have to call Gordon and Partners.
So, but the diminished guy, she's already gotten paid by the insurance company.
Oh, I see. Well, in that case, she should go directly to the attorney.
Go directly to the attorney. Okay. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much. You guys are the best.
Thanks for calling, Mary.
Thanks, Mary. Give us a call.
Bye.
Let us know how that turned out for you. That's Gordon and Partners, 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Are you looking for a used car? If you didn't pick up September's subscription of the Consumer Reports, you should do so, because they have a list of used cars, and it would really benefit you if you were to go out taking a look around. And I'm going to get to that page, and I'll tell you guys. What's number one on the list is the Toyota Prius. It's the Prime Prius 2020-2022. Also, the Audi A5 2019-2021. That's if you're looking for a sporty car. That's the Audi A5. A large luxury car is the BMW 3 Series 2020-2021. 2021. The Lincoln Corsair 2020-2022, it's a small SUV. And also the Honda Passport. The Honda Passport, I'd say that it's a mid-size SUV, and that's the 2020-2022. So that's just to give you an idea. That's from the Road Report and the Consumer Report. That number again is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget, youranonymousfeedback.com. Rick, do you have anything from YouTube or text?
Well,
or
we've
Facebook?
got Anne Marie's opening text. Let's bring that one up.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
She says, "Good morning. Your Toyota dealership's used car department sells pretty much all makes of vehicles. I was wondering, Cadillacs or Subarus or BMWs, or would the customer be better off taking their new pre-owned vehicle to an independent shop that specializes in their particular brand?" Well, my personal view is if you can find an independent mechanic that specializes in certain brands, talk to them and find out where they got their experience. A lot of technicians start out working for dealerships, then go open their own shop and specialize in the brand that they were trained in.
And Rick, excuse me for interrupting. Of course, it would depend on the complexity and severity of the issue. If it's something relatively minor, then most any good mechanic can take care of any make car.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
If you have a technical challenge and you have a European car, you might want to go to one of those type of independents that specialize in that type of cars.
Exactly. Now, as for routine maintenance, our dealership we can do routine maintenance, tires, brakes, oil changes, filters, and that on any make and model. However, finding an independent mechanic that is very experienced in the brand can save you a lot of money, because even our shop, our dealership, we've got a much higher overhead, and therefore we do have to charge a higher labor rate. A good independent mechanic that specializes in your make that you have can save you quite a bit and can be a really good asset. He might know all the ins and outs of that car, and he'll also know when he might be getting over his head for not having the proper diagnostic or specialized tools
And
for
a
that
good place
car.
to find a mechanic like that is Consumer Reports. You can go to their webpage and auto repair, Consumer Reports, auto repair. Put in your zip code, and they will give you the Consumer Report recommended technicians in your zip code. So usually, almost 100% of the time, you're going to get a lower price at an independent mechanic than you do from a dealer. The danger is if it's a complex problem and you need the diagnostic equipment and you need the factory support, then the dealer would be the choice. But you're always going to pay more money at a car dealership than you would at an independent mechanic.
That's a great point,
Absolutely.
guys. We're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Jay in Hope Sound. Good morning, Jay. Welcome.
Well, good morning. I've got a question about whether you should trade in your vehicle or sell it private sale. I've heard that car dealerships use the trade to somehow bump up the price that they're charging for vehicles. So what do you think?
Well, it isn't a question whether you trade it in or you sell it yourself. It's a question of if you get the fair price from the trade-in. And but your point is extremely important. I'm glad you brought it up. What you should do before you even consider trading the car in is establish the true wholesale value. And you can do that so easily today, easier today than ever before, because there are so many independent players that have come into the business, like Carvana and WeBuyAnyCar.com and Vroom. And CarMax has been around a long time. But CarMax would be the first place I'd go to find out what I thought my car had in value wholesale. And then I would check with Carvana, as many sources as I could. Then I would go to the dealer I wanted to buy my car from. I'd say, I want to trade my car in, And the reason you want to trade your car in is because you get a sales tax exemption in most states. In Florida, you save yourself 6% of the value of your trade. So if you've got a car that's worth $10,000 and you trade it in Florida, you get a $600 savings essentially on the new car. But if you don't get a fair trade-in allowance, that savings isn't going to really benefit you. So establish the true value and then try to trade it in for what you know you could sell it to the other dealer for, the other Carvana or to CarMax. You say to the dealer, you're going to give me $10,000 for this car. I could get $12,000 at CarMax. Now he might say, well, go to CarMax, or he might say, oh, we can give you $12,000 too. Well, if he gives you $12,000, then you save $720 on the new car you're buying.
Yeah, that makes sense. I hadn't thought about the sales tax
Yes.
angle. And what about the Palm Beach Post classifieds? Do you know, are they any good for selling vehicles?
Well, I'm not going to ask you how old you are, Jay, but I know that you're over 21. Nobody uses the classified Palm Beach Post ads anymore. And I say nobody, that's not literally. Occasionally, when I go out and pick up my Palm Beach Post in the morning, I look up and down the street and I'm the only one getting the paper. So it isn't a very good source of anything, to be honest with you. So you can check, you can do classified, online classified, and that's better than nothing. But I don't recommend anybody try to sell their car personally to an individual. And if you're talking to the individual that says he'll pay you $10,000 for the car, next thing you know, he wants you to finance it for him, or next thing you know, he'll get you the check tomorrow, or maybe the check's no good. Or I mean, there's too many variables when you're dealing one-on-one with a person to buy a car. You're far better off today than ever. I mean, it's so easy to sell a used car today. Low demand, high demand, low supply, and all these sources like Carvana and WeBuyAnyCar.com that are competing with each other. CarMax, as I say, is another source. So forget the classified ads and go straight to the dealer. If your used car is a Kia, then you go to 2 or 3 Kia dealers' used car departments and say, I want to sell my car. These Kia dealers' used car managers are dying for used cars. They're short of used cars. They can't get enough. So it's a seller's market for used cars. You take that Kia used car manager, say, I want to sell it. No, I don't want to buy a Kia. I just want to sell my used car. And you get a bid. Say, I'm going to the other Kia dealer and see what he'll pay me for it. And next thing you know, you get a really nice price for that used car.
And Jay, here's 2 other options for you, cars.com and autotrader.com.
Right.
Okay, and you mentioned Kia. How is their reliability as compared to Toyota? I know
Good.
Toyota's like...
Good. When they came to the country, when they first came here, Korean manufacturer, it was kind of a junky car, and they got their act together. Now they build a high-quality car. You look in, the same thing is true with Hyundai. Of course, it's the same company. And you look at Consumer Reports, and the quality of those Kias and Hyundais is quite high today.
And Bob, Jay, there's also Facebook Marketplace. It's best for local ads.
I don't want to monopolize your time, but when is the best time of year to buy a car? Is it like just before the year ends? Or?
It used to be really, really important. Not so much anymore. The new cars are introduced over such a long spread. We'll be getting 2024s out any month now. In fact, there might already be some 2024s out. It used to be they would all come out in September, October. So you'll see the new car introductions coming in August, September, October, November, and then into the next year. They could introduce a 2024 in 2025. So I will say this: a good time to buy a car is toward the end of the month, and then at the end of the calendar year too, because there is a lot of pressure on dealers to sell a certain amount of cars in a month. Manufacturers have incentives, and there is a lot of commissions and bonuses paid to people if they get X number of cars in a month. So at the end of August, For example, on August 31st or even September 1st, because the books don't always close on August 31st, but at the very end of August, you can usually get a better buy on a car than you can at the early part of the month or the middle of the month.
Okay, so this would be a good time to start shopping.
Start shopping now, yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, don't go out cold on August 31st and not know what you want. Research consumer reports, research pricing, get online, know what you need to know, and then on August 31st, that's when you sign on the dotted line and you get a much better price.
Now, what is the smallest compact that Toyota sells? Is that a Yaris?
Is a what was that again?
What is the smallest compact car that Toyota sells? Would that be a
Smallest
Yaris?
spec?
Right now, that'd be the Yaris,
Yeah.
our smallest car.
And does that have the same engine as a Toyota Corolla?
It does, but there's multiple engines available in them. Yaris usually comes with the smaller 4-cylinder. However, if you got lucky enough to get hold of one of the GR Yarises, that's a little rocket ship.
Not many on the road.
Very few. They're mostly in Japan and Europe, but there's a few of them have made it over here.
Yeah, just a few. Jay, if you don't have any other questions, I'm going to suggest to you that you take a look at Earl's latest column. Excuse me. It might be time to buy a new car. Some auto manufacturers are discounting, and what he means by this is that these incentives are popping up now, and they haven't for a long time. So you want to look for all of that. So you can either pick up the Florida Weekly and see the column, or you can go to
Hometown News?
Earl, yes, Hometown News. Also, Earl on Cars, and you can read one of his columns or so many of them, depending upon what you're looking for. Jay, thank you so much for the call.
Thank you so much.
And
Bye.
have a great weekend. 877-960-9960. Ladies, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. $50. Give us a call. How was your shopping experience? Are you looking for a car? How about service? 877-960-9960. And we are going to stay with the phones. We're going to talk to John from Palm City. Good morning,
Good morning
John.
to everyone. On my mind today is Tesla. We all know how they're expanding. They're just making the plant, it's near Berlin in Germany, twice the size. They're the largest selling luxury car in the world, largest plant in Europe, and they're full speed ahead. It's unbelievable what's going on with them. But I'm going to have a question for Earl. Tesla, in March of 2015, Earl mentioned about Connecticut once with the Indian reservation. But people don't know, in 2015, the then Governor Chris Christie, declared Tesla, allowing it to make a direct sales operation in the state of Florida. He had New Jersey. He had a lot of flack with it. The Motor Vehicle Bureau was against him, but all he insisted was that they have service areas for the Tesla that they're selling directly to the consumer. I want to ask Earl, does he think that there's any possibility that our present president, the man in the White House, could make an executive order and declare that all manufacturers can sell directly in all 50 United States?
I don't think there's any chance at all, John. I mean, legally, I don't think he could do it. That would be something that would have to be done legislatively, and even legislatively, it would be difficult. The move, it's going to happen, but probably later rather than sooner, and it's becoming. Interestingly enough, I posed that question, your question. I posed it because I don't know the answer. I posed it to ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence app I have, and they weren't too sure either, but they said that there's a lot of speculation that will happen. It's just a question of how and when.
Well, I just bring it up because it doesn't seem to stop them they has to go through Congress to get a permission.
Yeah,
It just seems
I
like
think
the issue
the
these
power
keep
of
giving
the
lollipops out.
the power of the automobile dealers lobby, the associations and the individual dealers is so strong, there isn't a chance. It'll happen when the public demands it. It'll happen when it is such a thorn in the side of the public that they will threaten not to vote for a candidate if they don't support allowing manufacturers to deal directly. And I don't know when that's going to happen, but it will sooner or later, probably later.
Well, one fast thing while I'm on luxury cars, Bugatti, which is Lamborghini. I think it's owned by Volkswagen. I know Bugatti is. They've announced they're going to be fully electric by 2028. That's Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So it's going crazy, even with luxury cars. By the way, the number one selling after Tesla in the United States is a Rolls Royce. Rolls Royces were shorted during the COVID-19, and you couldn't even buy a brand new one. They were mostly always used. Rolls Royce is another one that's going full speed ahead. Where the money is coming from, I can't answer that. The way things are with the price of financing and cars, but they were not manufactured during the COVID-19, and you couldn't buy one, just like you couldn't buy a lot of other things, like a luxury watch. It's crazy what happened during COVID, and people are still using for part suppliers today. My friend on a Honda, someone on a 2019, they couldn't get the parts for the rear brake on him, and what do you think the Honda dealer used right away? Well, shortage of COVID supply shortage, so it's crazy completely. Now, one other fast thing to end it. People that like to watch entertainment. Today, it's unbelievable. There's an auction in California run by Gooding and Company. You can watch it live. It starts at 11 a.m. in California time. That's 3 o'clock our time. And it's just crazy completely. I mean, even a Toyota that's going to run through there today, it's the prices are out of this world.
Yeah.
Where the money is, I don't know. This is an international.
Well, the rich are getting richer, John. I mean, the billionaires are. I mean, it's always amazing to me when these billionaires they'll be worth $10 billion, and then 1 year later they're worth $15 billion. How do the billionaires move so fast? I'm not sure, but.
Well, just to give you an F-62 Ferrari today is going to bring in $9 to $11 million.
Yeah.
It's Ferraris and Maseratis and those cars are just completely crazy off the board. But I just thought it's interesting because it's a live auction and people are like me. I like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
Just annoyed in watching it. By the way, the commission is like 12%.
Really? Not bad.
It's for the rich and famous.
Hey, John, it's amazing that you should mention this because I was taking a look at the business finance in the Wall Street Journal this morning, and they're auctioning off this Ferrari. It's going to go for $60 million in New York.
That's a new Ferrari, or is that an old Ferrari?
And that's a 1964.
Holy mackerel, $60 billion.
Well, a 67 Toyota today is going to be up to $1 million.
Wow.
$1 million on the auction today. So
Wow.
If you're not doing anything, it's nice free entertainment.
Exactly.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much, John.
Oh.
Have a great weekend. We're going to go to Alan, who's giving us a call from Lake Worth.
Yeah, I got a.
Good morning, Alan.
Hey, good morning to you. How are you?
We're well, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, I just bought a car from Delray Honda. I'm here now actually having the windows tinted. It's a 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid. Beautiful car. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got the extended warranty, the Platinum, which will cover me 125,000 miles, and they extended, which was 72 months to 84 months if I, exhaust the time before the mileage. But I was curious about something. It's zero deductible when I bring it to Delray Honda if I have a problem. However, if I go anywhere else, it's called a disappearing deductible. It's $100 anywhere else after the manufacturer's warranty. What in the world is that all about?
Well, that's surprising. Is this extended warranty a Honda by Honda manufacturer, or is it?
Yes, it is.
It is, yeah. Well, it's a good warranty, I would think. If Honda manufacturer is sponsoring it, and of course the reason the reason they're going to charge you deductible is to encourage you to go to the Honda dealer where there'll be a zero deductible. If you go elsewhere, you have to pay the deductible. And one of the reasons Honda wants to do that, the good reason would be the fact that they like to think their Honda technicians are better trained, which they probably are. Honda parts are good to use as opposed to aftermarket parts. And you'll get a quality repair. So they want to encourage you to go back to the Honda dealer where they have some control over who's fixing the car and which parts to use. A Honda dealer will use a Honda trained technician, and they will use Honda parts, which is good for them and good for you too.
Absolutely, that I know. I thought what I was curious, and I need to talk to him because I'm here now. I just got here in Delray. They're going to tint the windows. They put the protective coating on there. So this just applies. So it's for every Honda dealer? Because they made it sound if I went to Bremen or went to somewhere else, I pay $100 deductible. But if I come here, this is after of course, the manufacturer's warranty expires. Then it's zero deductible.
I would double check on that because what you say doesn't make sense. If it was a Honda warranty, they would not do that. If it was a Delray Honda dealer warranty, then they would do that. So double check to be sure that's an official Honda warranty. And if not, you can cancel that warranty in Florida as long as you haven't used it, of course. You can cancel that warranty anytime up to 90 days.
Beautiful, beautiful. But I love the car, though.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, and you can buy a Honda warranty that extend the warranty, and that. But a lot of dealers like to sell their own warranties, and they have their own company, and it's a warranty company, and they sell you. They make a nice profit. You can't blame them for wanting to make a nice profit.
Work to start it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Alan, you sound like you fell in love all over again.
I did. It's been a while since I've been in love, so it's a beautiful thing.
Honestly. Well, thank you so much.
It's a great car. You bought a great car.
Yeah, sounds like a beauty.
Enjoy that Honda.
I think so. And I do appreciate you guys. Love your show when I'm working and I'm driving during the day. I just want to wish you all the very best. And thank you for all the great years you have put out a quality product and have been around. You are definitely a name that is truly recognized. Be well, stay well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alan. We are going to go to Lance, who's giving us a call from Tennessee. Lance has become a regular caller, and he is, quite entertaining.
Morning, Lance.
Good morning.
Well, Earl, it's Saturday morning, and I couldn't let it pass without a little song.
Oh, boy, I got a song. Lance, are you a songwriter by profession?
No.
I knew that. I was just kidding you.
When the morning paper hits the street, Earl Stewart on cars can't be beat. They've got Earl, Nancy, Rick, and more. Give them a call, and you'll save a lot out the dealer's door.
Yeah, you're definitely not a professional. But anyway, keep trying. I mean, that's I love your songs, but I don't know if you can sell them.
I won't let you know, Earl. We have placed a copy of your book in the local library. I stopped by the library the other day, and they say that several people have checked it out. So that's good.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you calling. We need a little levity on this show, and you provide that now weekly, and we look forward to that. So I can't wait till next week and hear what your next song is going to be.
I've got one last question. Have you heard anything about my favorite dog, Wheelie?
We haven't, and shame on us.
What's that?
The dog we had earlier, the one that had
Cowboy?
No, the one that with
Wheelie.
the bad, yeah,
Our first one.
with a bad leg. Yeah,
Straight leg syndrome.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do.
We'll check it
We're
out.
going to check on that and make a point of that. I promise you we'll have an answer for you next week.
And you know what, Lance, what you can do if you'd like, if you have the time now, you can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org and you can take a look right there and you can check as to whether that dog has been adopted until we get
We'll do that for you.
until we get the information.
Okay, have a good Saturday. It's great talking to you.
Thank
you
you,
too,
Lance.
Lance. Look forward to hearing from you next week. Get that song ready. I also want to mention, thanks to Jonathan, he reminded me that we pick up the registration fees for the dog of the week, the adoption fees. You know how expensive it is to adopt a dog and to take care of a dog. That we're here to help you. We are going to go back to Rick. And before we do, I'd like to mention if you could take a look at, Earl, take a look at your anonymous feedback, see if we have anything there.
We do. We have one anonymous feedback, and let me find that now.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Let's see here. Oh, here it is. Your anonymous feedback. If you want to talk to us without us knowing who you are, youranonymousfeedback.com. Just the way it sounds. I'll read it. So at least for me, the video explaining dealer floor plans being obsolete seemed to end abruptly without elaborating on why floor plans are obsolete. Is it because there are fewer vehicles on the lot? Aren't dealers still paying floor plan? And wouldn't they continue to do so as inventories recover? Also, for my reference, do dealers pay floor plan on both new and used? And if so, are the interest rates different for new and used like they are for the public? The floor plan, the reason I say floor plans are obsolete, I made that comment a few months ago, I think. They're still not as acute and important as they once were because the inventories were relatively low. At the time I made that comment, inventories were extremely low. For example, my inventory, I'm a Toyota dealer. We have a Toyota dealership that sells 200 or 300 new cars a month, and typically we'd have 300 or 400 used new cars in stock. I'd have millions of dollars tied up with floor plan, and I'd be paying interest on it. Right now, and back then, I would have maybe 50 or 60 cars on the lot, and so the effect of the cost of interest was negligible. So floor plans are still not as important as they used to be. A floor plan, by the way, is what dealers pay the bank for lending them the money to buy the car from the manufacturers. Most dealers don't have the $5, $10, $20 million hanging around that they can afford to keep all those cars on the lot, and they have to borrow the money, and then when they sell the car, they have to pay the car off. A fancy name for it is floor plan, but yeah, it's basically that. Today, dealers are seeing more cars on the lot. As a matter of fact, I was going to talk about this later in the show. Electric vehicles, there's a huge amount of electric vehicles on lots, not Tesla, because Tesla sells directly, but dealers that are selling electric cars have up to a 90 and even 100-day supply. And they have millions of dollars tied up in electric vehicles, and the electric vehicle sales have slowed down. And so floor plan is a big factor right now to those dealers, and they're paying a lot of money. Imagine having $10 million worth of electric vehicles on the lot, and you're having to pay 10% interest, which is about right. You're paying $1 million a year interest on that $10 million. And $1 million a year, what's that, about 300,000? You can do the division, but that's a lot of money to pay. So I modify my statement. Floor plan is a big factor now, especially if you're selling electric vehicles.
And to your point, recently I was reading Warren Buffett selling off, I believe it's like 45% of GM stock because of the vehicles in the pileup.
Yeah, General Motors having a hard time selling electric vehicles.
So
and
when you get his
Warren
attention,
Buffett sold half his stock.
yeah, you get his attention. It's worthy of taking advantage of, looking at the situation. Ladies, I'll remind you again, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. $50. Give us a call. Help me support the platform here for the ladies. And you've done so in the past. Let's do it again today. 877-960-9960. And don't forget to text us at 772-497-6530. And we are going to go back to Rick, and he'll take care of text, YouTube, Facebook.
Well, I just took a look at BDRR, and Wheelie is not listed right now.
No?
So Wheelie may be in a foster, or he may be adopted already.
Oh,
Lance, I hope you're listening. It looks like they found a home for Wheelie. Okay, where are we now?
we're going to Rick.
Well, one other quick note. California, beware. The southwest coast area, watch out, folks.
Is
Weather patterns have had California area getting a lot of rain lately. But right now, hurricane, or I guess it would be called, what do they call, Cyclone Hillary, or Hurricane Hillary, is a stage 4, category 4 hurricane heading up the coast from Baja, California, pretty much aiming at San Diego.
But this is
Now-
Earl on cars, not Earl
Right.
on weather.
But there's a reason why I'm mentioning this.
exactly.
As we have seen right here in South Florida,
Yeah.
when they get all that massive rain, with all the heavy rains they've had, they're going to start having flood cars. So, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, when you start seeing cars coming up for sale really cheap, look them over close.
Assuming the hurricane hits.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
it's pretty much, it's aiming right at them.
And to your point, we were
Yeah.
thinking the same thing this morning because I picked up Earl's old column on flood cars, and they are definitely worthy of looking at carefully because they're everywhere right now.
Yep.
877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go back to Rick.
We're caught up on texting.
Are we?
Well, actually, Frank in Jupiter did send an interesting picture over. It was a Tesla with the license plate reading DRV TSLA. So somebody got the plate they wanted. Drive Tesla.
Very good.
Interesting. 877-960-9960. Remember, ladies, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. Can you believe that catalytic converters are still being stolen from there's no place that they won't go with their cutters and remove the catalytic converters. And, there was an article in yesterday's paper about it, and they went into great detail as to why the catalytic converters are so, it's great because of the minerals and the everything that they can get for it. Very expensive. We're going to go back to the phones where we have Marty calling us. He's a regular caller. Good morning, Marty.
Today.
Hey, Marty.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, we're here.
Okay. I just wanted you to know now I'm on a year wait again. I didn't order another Camry, but I did order a RAV4 Limited from your dealership. So they said it'll only be a year. So I'll wait and hopefully I'll like it. So they said, hey, if you don't like it, your dealership is very nice. If you don't like it, you can leave it and then you'll sell it to somebody else in a week.
Well, I wish everybody were as patient as you are, Marty.
Yeah.
You're a Parser boy.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to tell you, on my phone on the car, when you press the speaker button and I say text Earl Stewart, I was able to get a hold of you and I could say what I wanted. Now all of a sudden it says, do a quick response. So when I went in to order the RAV4, I asked one of the salesmen, and he was very nice. He came out, he said, well, now you need to plug in your cord and ask for Apple Play, and then I could text you, and say what I wanted. So I don't know why it got changed, but I went on the internet, and about 15, 20 people have complained too that all of a sudden you can't text directly from the steering wheel other than these canned answers.
I didn't know about that.
Why?
That may be an update through the phones, or it may be one of the over-the-air updates to the radio systems. Toyota's always trying to keep on the cutting edge with the safety concerns, and when they change stuff like that, unfortunately, that's one of their changes they liked.
Yeah,
It's to avoid driver distraction.
Now, Rick is absolutely correct. Some guy told me that Toyota did it for that reason, for safety reasons.
Yeah. It's. I tell you what, I really have a lot of feeling for drivers of new vehicles today with the changes, and it's just a shame. You buy a new car today, and to be honest, you're only utilizing about, if you're smart, you may be getting 75% of the benefit of the car. There's so much to learn. You almost have to go to college to learn how to drive your car. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be the other way around. It should be, you should be able, it should be non-challenging. It should be extremely easy. Of course, we're going in that direction with fully autonomous. And unfortunately, to reach fully autonomous safely, to reach a vehicle that you can literally say to your smartphone, call my car and then take me to Walgreens and then now take me home. That is the ultimate in simplicity. To get there, we have to go through this highly complex challenge, technically, that most people, if they can't understand it, they can't remember it all. And I'm a very technically qualified person for an old guy, and Nancy and I drive a Tesla, and we still haven't figured out probably a good 25 or 30% of what that Tesla is capable of doing. So the average person today gets in a car and pays $50,000, and he's only using $40,000 worth of stuff. That's just not right.
So much so.
No, I'll tell you one
Marty?
thing. My wife has a CRV, and the controls on my Camry are much easier to use than on the Honda.
Sure, yeah.
So I think Honda is a lot more complicated.
I think the engineers and scientists and the technical groups are running the manufacturers now. You have to get the people that understand the customer and understand the capability and the inclinations of a customer. And whoever figures out that first is going to sell a lot of cars, because if I had a car that I could say that anybody can drive this car easily and use all the features and benefits without having to go to school or read a 2,000-page owner's manual, if I had that type of car, I would sell all the cars. And once the manufacturers get that, they'll start to simplify cars.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just waiting now for 24s to start. So I am very patient.
You are, Marty.
You sure
Marty,
are.
thank you so much for the call. We look forward to hearing from you again.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You do the same. And we're waiting for Rick's book to come out, and it's going to be hitting the shelves soon. He's going to explain all of this to us, and he is a book of knowledge.
My book.
Your book. We're going to go.
My book's a little ways off yet.
We're going to go to John in West Palm Beach. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning. You were talking about flood cars on the West Coast, and I was wondering, is there a way to identify if the car is a flood car? You know, like if a car has been rebuilt and it's got a rebuilt title type thing. How could, other than going there and pulling up the carpet underneath to see if it's wet, is there a way to find out?
The simplest and most reliable is just look at it. I don't mean you
Smell
literally,
it.
but take it to a technician, a qualified technician, and any qualified technician, you have to pay them. I mean, it takes some effort, and skill, but a good technician can look at a car, put it up on the lift, and check a few areas and tell you better than the insurance company or the title or anything else whether that car has been in a flood. Am I right, Rick?
Absolutely.
So you're right about the title, and in certain states it would be evident, but cars float around through all 50 states, and some states have just absolutely no regulations, and they take these states, the people with the bad guys, they go to let's assume the hurricane hits California, which I still don't believe it's going to hit, but assuming it hits California, and they buy up a bunch of flood cars, and they truck them to Mississippi or New Jersey or a few other states. These are states that are able to wash the title, they call it. You could take a car that's branded as a flood car and rebrand it with a clean title and then take it to Florida and sell it. So forget about all that. Just be sure you get your car checked. Anytime you buy a car, a used car, you should always have it checked by a mechanic. And flood damage, water damage of any kind is something that a good mechanic will be able to tell you about.
And John, you can go to Earl on Cars and you can read one of Earl's columns, which targets how to avoid buying a flood car after the hurricane. Take a look at it. It's really definitely worthy of reading.
Well, the reason why I ask is I was looking for a Tesla Y used, and all of a sudden Merritt Island came up with a whole bunch of Ys that are used, and I was just wondering how many of those were flood cars since they got hit. And
Good
and
point.
is Florida one of those states that can wash a title?
No, Florida's got a good title state. They're accurate. So if there was anything damage done to that car, the Florida title law would save you from being, buying a flood car.
Yeah, because I don't mind going to Merritt Island and buying a car. It's just I don't want to waste my time if there was an easier way to identify whether the car was a flood car.
Yeah, but it's still take it to a mechanic anyway, because flood cars are. When a car is officially a flood car, it's really been flooded. But you can have minor damage, and you want to check the mechanics and the electronics of a car anyway. So spend $200 and get yourself a independent mechanic. Don't take the seller's mechanic. Get your mechanic and pay him a couple $100. Say, please check this car over. Would you buy this for your mother? And tell them to check for water damage, any kind of damage, and mechanical reliability. And give it the stamp of approval, and it's worth every penny of that $200.
Yeah, definitely, John. These unscrupulous masters of disguise, I'm going to call them, they can really make a car look, smell, feel, even drive perfectly for a while.
Yeah.
And you really have to be sure. Yes, Rick?
Hey, a quick note just came in from Donovan. He says, for the caller, wait on buying a Model Y if you can. The new Model 3 is coming any week now, and the new Model Y will be shortly after. This should mean a nice price drop is coming shortly.
Thank you, Donovan.
Great news.
I love
Thank you, Donovan.
YouTubers.
He's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Every week, week in and week out. So I hope that we answered your questions, John.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You did. The Model 3 Highland isn't out yet, but that's on its way. I guess it's in Europe now. You can order it, but not here yet.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. So, anyways, okay.
Thank you, John.
That's it. Oh, you're. Hey, can I give a shout out to a garage that really took care of me the other day? We had
Yeah, we love recommendations from our callers on repair shops and dealers. Any place you had a good experience with a car, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, definitely, John.
This place is Electrified Garage in Blue Heron and Military. Electrified Garage. The guy's great. He does all electric cars.
Electrified Garage.
I haven't heard of them. I haven't heard of them. That's good information. What's the location again?
It's on the corner of
Blue Heron and Military.
And that's in Riviera Beach?
Yeah, I think that's Riviera Beach, and it's right behind that golf cart place. I know you guys are down at the eastern end of the city and that, but yeah, Blue Heron and Military.
We get down that way.
And when I was asking about batteries, he's saying that now if a Tesla owner is going to have to get a new battery, the big battery pack, he says you can get them used. You can get them used and they're reconditioned.
Well,
They
that's
have to
great.
go out.
Well, that's good to know.
Great information, John.
Electrified garage. All right, thank you.
Rick?
And that is seconded by Donovan. He says electrified garage is amazing.
Oh,
Wow.
there you go, John.
Yeah, look, anybody got a
Heard
telephone
Donovan.
number for electrified garage?
I'm driving right now, so
Oh, okay, well, never mind. You can text it to us.
okay, very good.
All right, thanks so much.
Thanks, John.
All right.
Remember, ladies, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. $50 just to give us a call and say hello or share an experience with us, whether you leased, whether you purchased, or you had your car serviced. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget, we need some more your anonymousfeedback.com. Rick?
Electrified garage at 7190 Devons Road B, Riviera Beach, Florida 33404. Phone number is 772-842-3306. And they have a 5-star Google rating with 109 reviews.
Wow.
That is
So
fantastic.
109 is that's getting up there, and to have perfect 5-star, that's pretty good.
Thanks
sure
for putting
is.
that out
And
there,
that,
Rick.
again, that is in 7190 Devons Road, which is it's kind of a like a warehouse complex area.
Remember, we have people all over the world. So this is in Florida. It's in Palm Beach County, and you know where West Palm Beach, Florida is. It's just a little bit north of West Palm Beach.
Yep, it's the next city to the north.
Yes.
Okay. We are going to go to the phones, and we are going to talk to Bobby from West Palm Beach.
Hey, Bobby. Luis, you still on the line, Bobby?
Yes. Hello.
Good morning, Bobby. Welcome.
Thanks. A couple of things. One, just as an aside, I was traveling. It's if you're looking for something to do, you might want to download one of your previous episodes that maybe you might have missed and listen to it on the airplane. It passes 2 hours a time while you're
Oh,
traveling.
nice. Bobby, thank you very much.
Sure, you learn something while you're flying.
Yeah.
What a compliment.
Exactly. We've never, ever had anyone call us to suggest listening to an old show. Thank you so
Well,
much.
Right, you can't listen to all of them, so if you hear a new one, it's fun.
Yeah.
So I was calling about rental cars because people need to be a little more careful as they get in rental cars now because there's a number of new options that people aren't familiar with. And I had a problem with a Jeep Wrangler. I was out on Seminole Pratt, which is sort of a, it's a sort of a 2-laney road. And a woman was stopped at a stoplight and wasn't moving in a Jeep Wrangler, kind of newish. And so I'll stop and push them out of the way so they're not blocking traffic. And I hollered over to her from the side, can you put it in neutral and I'll push it? And she said, no, it's stuck. And as it turned out, it was a rental car. And I'm not the greatest mechanic in the world, but I know how to override the gear shift lock. But the mechanism in the Jeep really didn't work that well, and I finally got it to move, but it never unlocked the transmission, and eventually somebody ran into the back of her.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, boy.
Right.
No,
Right.
I know what you mean about rental cars. Nancy and I have had bad experiences. We don't travel that much anymore, but when we did, you try to rent a car that you're familiar with, and if you can't get one, forget about it. I mean, and today it's doubly bad because cars are so different today than just the same model 5 years ago. So I It's a great. If I were going to rent a car, I would do my best to rent something that I knew how to drive.
But even yes, that's true. But even so, like those things like brake hold. If you have a brake hold on your car where you can take your foot off the brake at the stoplight, and then you get in a car that doesn't have it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a little bit troubling to the person in front of you.
Yes.
Yeah, that muscle memory.
Yeah. Think fast.
So you just need to sort of familiarize yourself with the car you're getting into, and it's hard to go over everything, but just a thought. Anyhow, and listen to Earl Stewart on cars while you're traveling.
Bobby, thanks so much. What a great call.
Sure.
Give us a call again. We're going to go to Jersey Mike in New Jersey. Good morning, Jersey Mike. Welcome.
Hi there. First of all, with Big Dog Ranch, I tell you that I adopted a dog there, and a lot of people may not. Yes, for a roommate of mine, because I already have a dog, but they're great together as a sister and brother. But what people don't know is if you are a veteran, which I happen to be, you get a 50% discount on any adopted dog from Big Dog Ranch.
Say that again, Mike.
And
50%?
I said if you are a veteran, past military veteran,
oh, wow.
you will get 50% discount on any dog that's adopted there.
Well, shame on us for not knowing that. Thank you so much. That is really cool.
And also, when you do adopt a dog there, you get a dog with all that's needed, meaning you get a dog that's been chipped, that's been neutered, that's been groomed, that the nails have been cut, the ears have been cleaned, it's been done right, okay?
Yeah.
That's all part of that fee that you're paying when you adopt that dog. So I gave them $1,000 donation because they happen to have a veterans booth there in the rear. There's a big complex, Big Dog Ranch. There's a number of buildings, and I'm just saying that they do marvelous work out there.
Yeah, it is an amazing place. It's in Loxahatchee, way west on
it's
Boulevard.
way out there.
It's way out there, but it's worth the drive. I mean, what they have done. Yeah, what they've done.
And by
is
the way,
amazing.
on the way out there, if you want to get some nice plants, there's a lot of lower expense places out there to pick up plants for your garden and so forth and so on.
Wow.
A lot of things to do out there. Let me go to another topic, okay?
And it's like a college campus for dogs.
Yeah, I'm going to do it exactly. You got that right. And the people are really very helpful. I mean, and you know what they did too? They'll tell you if they have an allergy or something like that, they'll give you medication. It's all free. It's not free. It's all part of that fee that you're going to pay. And if you're a veteran, it's going to be 50% less than what it would be for the normal person. The dog that I adopted.
Amazing information, Mike. Thanks for sharing that with us.
$600, and I got it for $3. Charlie's Auto, shout out, next to the place where the electric car place is over there on Blue Heron and Military Trail. Charlie's Auto will do body work on your car that's absolutely phenomenal and at a very, very low price.
Charlie's Auto.
Yep.
And where is it again?
It's right next to the electric place. It's in the rear. It's like a warehouse, and he has a sign out front, Charlie's Auto, so you can go in the office in the front when you pull in the front parking lot, where the shop is in the rear.
Yeah, so it's you're plugging Big Dog Ranch and Charlie's Auto. We need all the referral. Word of mouth is the way to go. And, all the advertising in the world, it's all BS, most of it. And when you have someone that has personal experience that you know and trust, gives you a referral, that's the way to adopt a dog and the way to get your collision repair done.
Yeah, great information,
Right.
Mike.
I got one last question I want to ask, okay? I had at one time, many years ago, a 1957 Eldorado Brougham. This is the car that has stainless steel top. It had suicide doors that opened from the middle, 4 doors, and it had air ride, meaning it would sit down low until you turn the ignition on, and then it would rise up in order to drive it. Do you have any idea where I might be able to find something like that in the United States of America?
Just Google it. Call John from Palm City. He knows where all the old cars are.
Yeah.
And
You can Google it.
what's
Go
the
to
phone
artificial
number?
intelligence.
I don't like. I'll tell you what. We will. If you will text us, we will text you his phone number, and I guarantee
Okay, what's your text number?
772-497-6530. 772-497-6530, and then we'll text you back his
Also, Mike, you
Great.
can go to online automotive marketplace. Jot that down.
Online automotive
Yes, and that's it. That's online automotive marketplace, and it's
marketplace.
Hemmings, HEMMINGS.com. Hemmings.com.
You know what? That reminds me. When I was young,
Thanks,
they used to have a catalog that came out. Hemmings has a catalog. Where would you get? Where would you get a Hemmings catalog? Do you get any idea?
Oh wow, they're going to be online now. I don't think you need
all
to
right.
get the
Okay.
print version.
I got you. Hey, thanks a lot for all the information. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
folks. You gotta-
Stay
you
tuned
gotta-
for our
you gotta-
Dog of the Week that's coming up. So it's just about 9:21. Let's go to Rick and share with us any text, YouTube,
Okay.
or Facebook before we
We got
introduce Paco.
a couple quick little notes here. Donovan also says that the Electrified Garage is an expanding franchise. They're also in Ocala and Amesbury, Massachusetts.
Oh, so it's not an individual. It'll be eventually a growing chain.
Right.
You know, that is such valuable information because now it will be available in other areas, and they'll probably be standard. But what a great idea! I'd love to get in on the investment on that.
You might want to look at their website.
Yeah.
Talk to them, yeah.
What a way to go!
And Tom Steckel says, hey, we drove the Camry V6. He's got a relatively new one from Orlando to Henderson, North Carolina, and averaged 37 miles per gallon with a V6 Camry. That's pretty decent.
Yeah.
And a quick note here from Julie Fine. She says, for the lady last week who wanted a new blue car, you might consider having a wrap put on your car. Order, get what color you can, and then have it wrapped.
Yeah.
Now, I have seen some wraps on cars, and the color choices are unbelievable. The different shades in the colors, the different textures.
And if you want to change your color, you just take the wrap off and put another wrap on, whereas painting a car would be much more expensive.
Exactly. That's one of the things that I've even considered. For a text we had come in from Deck, he says he had a problem with his Lexus where every time he'd plug in his phone accessory to charge his phone in the power outlet, it would blow the fuse. My advice, Deck, try a new cable or the little power adapter. Usually that's the first thing that's causing that problem. They sometimes will short inside, and that will pop that fuse in an instant. So for about $10, you get a new adapter, a new cable, and give that a shot first before you do anything else. Also, make sure that the fuse you're using is what the vehicle calls for its rating. If it calls for a 15 amp fuse, don't put anything higher and don't go lower. Make sure it's the proper rating fuse.
Gotcha.
Boy, what a great exchange of information this morning here at Earl on Cars. And I didn't mention early, but I really want to thank all of you who tune in, and because you are a huge part of the show, and that goes for everyone here who thanks you. Rick?
And one last one for Kim Appreciates Life. She says, electrified vehicles and Charlie's Auto for body work. Thanks for the info, both on Blue Heron and military. Yes. And yes, I checked the location. It's the southeast corner of Blue Heron and Military Trail, and it's in behind the big golfing center there. So you'll see all the signs for all the golf carts, and it's kind of a whole warehouse complex there, and they're kind of right in the backside of those.
Yeah, that gives everyone an idea of the location. You have anything else, Rick? Okay.
We're caught up right now.
It's just by the clock, about 9:24. Earl?
Yeah, I want to talk about my latest blog again.
Okay.
My latest blog had to do with the fact that now is the time you might want to consider buying a new car. And the reason, the reason this is a good time is that the inventories that dealers have in some cases are extremely favorable. And if the dealers have larger inventories, they're back to the good old days when you could negotiate, when you could use competition to bring the price down. For 2 years or almost 3 years now, it's been a seller's market, and you pay what the dealer asks, and that's the end of the conversation. Now is a good time to think about buying a new car. If you get into this, do some research as to availability. It's easy to tell if a dealer's got a lot of cars. You drive over, or you look at his website, or maybe that's not such a good idea because they lie about their inventories on their website. But if there's a lot of cars on the lot, then you could be able to get a better price. Now, one of the things that you want to do when you decide which car you want, and you would decide that a manufacturer had a lot of cars shipped to the dealers, and you'd also decide that you like that car, and you check that car out any way you want to, quality-wise or performance-wise. My blog talked about a Jeep Wrangler, and I looked on the Jeep factory. That's Stellantis, but they make the Jeep. Stellantis used to be Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and now it's Stellantis. You look at the Jeep manufacturer's website, jeep.com, and they show you the manufacturer's incentives. Now, believe it or not, the manufacturer on certain Jeep Wranglers is offering a $4,000 kickback rebate to the customer. Now, it goes directly to you, not the dealer. So now you know about it because you've gone to the manufacturer's website, Jeep, in this case, jeep.com. It could be Chevrolet.com, it could be Honda.com. You go to the manufacturer's website and you look under incentives and sale items, and they will tell you what the manufacturer will rebate to you. Now, when you go to the dealership to buy, you have a negotiating edge because the Jeep dealers have a lot of Jeeps. I mean, a lot of Jeeps. Local dealers, I see them all the time advertising, and they do have a lot of Jeeps. Now, they won't tell you about the manufacturer's rebate. What they will do, unfortunately, is when you're negotiating, when you go to buy the Jeep, they will take that incentive and put it into their profit. And the way they get your money is by getting you to sign a form when you're buying the car. And if you bought a car recently, you'll remember the huge amount of paperwork. You sign here, sign here, sign here. You're signing 5, 10, 15, 20 documents, and half the time you don't know what you're signing. If you can't know what you're signing because there's too much fine print and too much to read, so you just sign it. Well, what you just signed is a document that assigns your $4,000 rebate on that Jeep to the dealer. Now, if you haven't gotten that negotiated down in the price, you're just enhancing his profit. So this applies to any car you buy today. If you want to buy a new car, go to the manufacturer's website, see what incentives they are offering to you, and if it pairs up with the car, a model that you want to buy of that particular make, then keep that in mind when you're shopping and comparing the price that you want to pay with other dealers. So I'm not saying buy a new car today. I'm just saying start thinking about it and concentrate on those vehicles that have built up a high dealer day supply. And one of those would be Jeep, for example, and certain other models that have a lot of cars too.
And you can go to Earl on Cars and you can read that column. You can also go to Florida Weekly. You can go to Hometown News. And that column, and just in case you forgot, is it might be time to buy a new car. Some auto manufacturers are discounting, so take a look at that. It's a great read. We are going to get to the dog of the week. It is now 9:29, and our dog is Paco. And Paco is, as they told us, is rambunctious. He's, it starts out, "What's up, guys and gals? My name is Paco. I'm big, young, and very rambunctious. He's a puppy, And he is 1 year, 5 months, and 2 weeks old. And he's a little doll, Paco. And he was found as a stray way back last fall when he was still a baby. He's calling himself a baby. He's a year old now. But nobody ever came looking for me. I may be some sort of a larger terrier. I'm a silly boy with a cute, crooked smile and a funny personality. Sometimes I even fall asleep standing up. I love toys, treats, and playing with all my friends, but I need to be reminded, play gently. I'm young. I'm a young man, barely over a year, and I'm working on my leash manners and some other basic commands. So there's a whole lot to love here.
We didn't get a video?
Elsa is going to bring us the video via video. She's bringing Paco via video. And
good.
Elsa is one of the many volunteers out there. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, Big Dog Ranch makes it, pretty easy for you to adopt a pet. And there's, as I believe it was Bob who pointed out, being a veteran, you get 50% off your adoption fee.
Yeah.
And of course, we pay here at Earl Stewart the adoption fees and registration. So that's a big help. It's
For Paco.
expensive.
For Paco.
For Paco, yes. So I think I mentioned everything except the website. You can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org and you can see Paco and all the other dogs, including, is it Willie? You said wasn't there?
Wheelie.
Wheelie isn't there?
Wheelie, I didn't see him on the website at all anymore, so
Oh, okay.
I think Wheelie might have just found a home.
That'd be great news. Okay, folks, we are about to get started with Paco.
Meet Paco. He is a 1-year-old mixed breed, and he is a very sweet boy, but he has a lot of puppy energy, so would do best in a house that is probably experienced with dogs, has enough room for him to run around, and has people who are willing to play with him. He still has that puppy chew, so he definitely needs some good chew toys to keep his mind and his mouth occupied. He's a very quirky boy. One funny thing about Paco is that he likes to fall asleep standing up or sitting up. He doesn't need to be laying down to get some rest. He also loves to swim and to just run around and have a good time, but definitely needs a house that's prepared to train him. And one of the great things about us here at Big Dog Ranch Rescue is that when you adopt a dog, you can bring him back for some free training, and he would definitely benefit from that. But overall, he's a great boy, has some great potential to be your best friend, and really is a sweetheart. So if you're interested in Paco, please come to visit him, give him some love. He'll give you lots of love in return, probably some big hugs and kisses, and he would just love to find his forever home. Wouldn't you, Paco? He said yes.
There you have
Meet
it.
Paco.
Paco.
That's going to be one big dog.
And you can tell how hot it is in Florida if you saw that video, because Taco's tongue was almost out on the ground.
The whole time.
Yeah. And we pay the $250 adoption fee. A lot of people question that. There's the $250. First of all, we pay it. So if you adopt Paco, you pay nothing. And as Nancy said earlier, if you adopt any dog and you're a veteran, you only pay half. $250. A lot of the the shelters, the dog's free. The reason Big Dog charges that is because they want some commitment. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, too many people, that will go to a shelter and get a dog, and then they get tired of the dog and they just turn the dog loose. And there are a lot of dogs that are just running free because they got tired of the dog. A person like that should not be allowed to adopt a dog. A person on a whim, without thinking it. A dog is a commitment. I mean, it's almost like getting married. I mean, yeah, if you adopt a dog, you should be ready to spend the rest of your life or his life her life with a dog, and without that commitment, Big Dog Ranch doesn't want you to have the dog. So $250 separates the people with good intentions from the people that just might be doing this on a whim. And of course, the $250 is not profit to Big Dog Ranch. Every nickel that Big Dog Ranch can get in, they use for to take care of their dogs.
Yeah, it's recycled
and the
into
owner,
Big
by the
Dog
way,
Ranch.
Lori Simmons, Big Dog, I say the owner, the founder of Big Dog Ranch, a woman named Lori Simmons, she has given hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of her own money to build Big Dog Ranch. So the $250 goes for two reasons: to help build Big Dog Ranch, also to be sure that you're serious about wanting a dog.
Also, they do a pretty thorough background check, and
Absolutely.
you just can't
like
waltz
adopting
in,
a child.
and just take a dog away. So there's a lot. They put you through a lot. That dog is pretty important, and he's just looking to be loved. So also, let me mention that Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer, Earl's book that's been out for quite a while. It's you can get this at Earl's book, or you can go to Amazon, and it's almost $20. But the proceeds, all of the proceeds from Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer, it goes straight to Big Dog Ranch. So you'd be helping out tremendously to Big Dog Ranch. Okay, let's go to Rick.
I've got one here from Kyle in Pennsylvania. He says, have you sold anything at your dealer for less than MSRP yet? At what point will you start to discount MSRP other than simple manufacturer rebates? He says, my new Toyota finally arrived at your dealer, pardon me, and my trade-in offer for my trade was a very poor price, but the new cars are still MSRP.
Well, I think with the trade-in, whether it's from our dealership or any dealership, you want to be sure that you shop your used car, the one that you're trading in, and be sure that it's a seller's market for used cars. And by the way, used car prices are still strong. They've come down probably 10, 15% from, say, a year ago, but from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, they're still very, very high. So my advice is always to go to Carvana, WeBuyAnyCar.com, Vroom, CarMax. There's so many sources out there. Cars.com. It's a seller's market. If you're buying a car from our dealership and we gave you a poor price in your view, then you should shop and compare. We try to give a competitive price, but we can't pay the highest price for every used car. We pay the best price that we can pay so that we can put it on our lot and mark it up and make a profit. But Carvana might think that they can pay you more, or maybe CarMax could pay you more, so you should shop and compare it. If you haven't already, you can still come back and do that. We wouldn't want to take a car from you at a price that wasn't fair. So that applies to anybody buying a new car today. Always shop and compare your trade-in.
And he does say, I know I can shop the trade-in elsewhere, but then I also have to pay $2,000 more in sales tax.
Well, that's the factor. Unfortunately, Florida won't let you off the hook. You have to pay that 60%. Now, you say $2,000, you're buying a new car, a fairly high price new car. Sure, yeah, that's a fact. You always have to take into consideration the sales tax exemption.
And this quick one from Brian on the text messages. He says, I have a 2017 Highlander. The black piece above the tailpipe is hanging and melting. Is this a problem, Brian in Jupiter? Absolutely. Either something's gone on and that piece has gotten way too close to the tailpipe, or your tailpipe is running excessively hot. You definitely want to get that checked out because it should not be melting that piece, and that could become a safety issue because it could actually start a fire.
Great advice, Rick. I think that we are going to get to the mystery shopping report, and that involves all of you. You can vote a number of ways, and the text number is 772 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. We went to Mystery Shop Wallace of Stewart, and Agent Lightning did a fantastic job, and Josh added his elegance of writing, and it is a great mystery shopping report. And you can send your votes to Rick on YouTube, Facebook. Like I said, there's a number of ways. Okay, Earl is going to get to the mystery shopping report.
We picked a Volvo dealer because we haven't done Volvo dealers, and a few Volvo owners out there asked us to do that. So if you have somebody you want us to shop, let us know. We'll try. We only do one a week, so we'll try to abide. And I don't think we had a Volvo, or maybe very few Volvo dealers on our list that we have shopped. And as Nancy said, this is Wallace Volvo Stewart. Wallace is a chain. He used to be part of AutoNation a long time ago, and he retired from AutoNation and built another group of dealerships up. Interesting thing about Volvo, I checked on Volvo, and I thought I recalled they're owned by a Chinese company, and I never realized that they were. It was I'd forgotten it. I had heard it, but back in 2012, it used to be a Swedish company, Volvo. Everybody thought of it as a Swedish car, and now it's a Chinese company. Another interesting fact before I get into the actual report is that there's tariffs now being Chinese companies are being charged a tariff to sell cars in this country. And Volvo, by the way, has found a way out of this, interestingly enough, and they found a kind of an obscure law made back in the 1800s, believe it or not, about taxation and tariffs, so they're exempt. So this particular Volvo, owned by a Chinese company, are not having their prices jacked up because of a tariff on Chinese companies. They got the exemption. So here we are in Delray, Florida. That's Stuart, Florida, a little bit north of Palm Beach County and Martin County, Florida. Wallace Volvo Stewart. Speaking in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning, I arrived at the Volvo dealership in the afternoon and immediately spotted a salesman inside looking out through the showroom window. I parked my car, strolled over to a vehicle that caught my eye, a beautiful XC60 with an MSRP of $53,105. Next to the window sticker was an addendum. I mean, we see this today almost all the time. Now, an addendum not being a factory item, but a dealer item added next to the Monroney label. This addendum had additional $1,797, almost $2,000 extra added over the MSRP, which was $54,902. They had on there $999 for Southeast Regional Adjusted Market Value. Sounds very official, doesn't it? Southeast Regional Adjusted Market Value. Custom pinstripes for $199, way more than what pinstripes really cost. A Wallace protection package of $599, and who knows what that entails, but it's fluff. It's ways to mark up a car, and that's the addendum label. $1,797 markup over the $54,902. To my surprise, there was suddenly a guy standing behind me, arms crossed. I turned around. He flashed a friendly smile, reaching out his hand and introduced himself as Jason. Curious about the car, I asked Jason if it was part of the manager special I'd seen online. I checked online and found the Wallace Volvo dealership, and they had a manager special. But he said no. They sold the last one just yesterday. If you were going to be suspicious, you'd think that might be bait and switch, may or may not. Another salesman chimed in, mentioning that sometimes it takes a couple of days for sold cars to come off the website. Well, it shouldn't take that long, but some businesses are just sloppy, and it could be the case. I told him I was interested in this vehicle either way. Jason suggested we head inside so he could make a copy of my license and get some more info. Once that was sorted, he grabbed the keys and the license plate, and off we went back to the car. He explained a bunch of features, but I could tell he wasn't entirely confident. When I asked about the warranty, the salesman hopped out of the car to check the window, the window sticker. So now I know he's not totally versed. When he got back in, he admitted he was still getting used to the brand. He had only been here for 3 weeks after selling Audis before. So turnover is not uncommon, and oftentimes you have a salesman that just doesn't quite seem on to what's going on, and chances are he's only been there a short time. Jason shared a bunch of things with me. Volvo cars had a mild hybrid set up to help the environment rather than just gas mileage. The seats were certified by a chiropractor. I didn't realize that. Volvo says their seats are certified by Chiropractor Association. Is super comfortable. And they have, I didn't know this either, they have a second key fob, and it's orange, and they can actually set the speed limits on your key fob. Interesting. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, but
In case you have a young teen
teenager.
going to drive your car, you let them have the other key,
yeah, they get the orange.
and they can only do 55 miles an hour.
Hey, I love that. That's a great idea. And then, lastly, on this list of features and benefits that Jason's telling me about as I'm shopping, there was this factory air filtration thing for the air conditioning called Clean Zone Filtration with HEPA air filters. I guess all cars have that, don't they?
HEPA. Actually, most cabin filters are just a simple paper filter. Then you can get activated charcoal, but HEPA filters, those are going to be expensive to replace. But
so
they'll certainly be healthier.
Those are good things, good features and benefits. Volvo, it's got a quality image in my mind, and I think Consumer Reports gives it a good rating, so it's a good car. A lot of people don't realize it's manufactured, is owned by a Chinese company. We then went on the test drive, and Jason seemed a bit uneasy as a passenger. I jokingly asked if my driving was making him nervous, and he laughed it off, mentioning he'd ridden shotgun in NASCAR before. Well, that's interesting. For some reason, he pointed out that the gas tank was on the other side because it's a European car. So it's still manufactured in Sweden, but owned by a Chinese company. I couldn't figure out why that mattered. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter as long as the gas cap is on the same side. That would be confusing if they switched it back and forth.
Well, again, when you look at the your combination meter, there'll usually be a little arrow to tell you which side of the car
on all cars?
Your gas cap is.
On all cars?
Pretty much all cars now. I think they've all done that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Back at the dealership, he asked what I thought of the car. I told him I really liked it and asked if he could break down the numbers for me. We headed back inside to his desk way in the back. He filled out some paperwork, handed it to me, and asked for my signature at the bottom. It was a commitment that I'd buy today if the numbers made sense. Now, I just don't like that. I mean, car dealers are the only business I know that does that, but you sign this worksheet, which is not an official document anyway. Legally, I'm sure there's no obligation. It's to psychologically obligate you, and I just don't like that stuff. I mean, just you tell me what the good points about the car, and the price of the car. Let me make a decision. Don't pressure me in saying that I'll buy the car today if it's everything I expected it to be. Why would I buy the car? I want to shop and compare price. It's just the way a lot of car dealers do that. I'm not picking on Wallace Volvo. A lot of car dealers do that. I considered declining signing it, and if you did, they wouldn't insist, I promise you. But I ended up signing and told him I had to leave soon for a doctor's appointment. He wondered if I could just come back after the doctor's appointment, but I insisted on going through the numbers now. So off he went, over to the sales manager's desk, the game, back and forth, leaving me sitting there. He came back after about 8 minutes with a pricing sheet. And of course, we know what that is. That's the worksheet. And the worksheet says it's not an official document, and it's not a legal document, and you can't hold me, meaning that you can't hold the dealership to what's there because it's not a legal document. Bottom line is reiterating what they told me before, but he walked me through the sheet showing how the price matched the MSRP on the window sticker. So here's a real pleasant surprise, and this surprised me. They didn't charge me any of the add-ons, and they gave me a $750 discount.
Wow.
So why the salesman didn't mention this before, I don't know. He was new, only been there 3 weeks, and maybe it was just an oversight on his part, but you know, why have the addendum there? And for a few minutes, I'm believing I'm going to have to pay, was it almost $2,000?
Yeah.
More for all this junk, but they took that off without even me asking, and gave me a $750 discount. So here we are. Here's a car, a new car today, being sold for $750 below MSRP. Very rare. So you Volvo intenders, you Volvo fans out there, Wallace Volvo is selling this Volvo, what was the model?
The XC60.
Yeah, for $750 below MSRP. I thanked him for his time. He handed me his handwritten business card because he was new, hadn't had the cards printed up yet. Stood up, shook hands, and I made a quick exit. I called my daughter, who was waiting in the car, and urged her to get in the passenger seat so we could get out ASAP. She laughed, and by the way, as an aside, Agent Lightning has got, she's a family person, and sons and daughter and husband, and she often takes them shopping. Sometimes they come in with her, so very, very legitimate, and she really, really does a great job. But they were laughing about the fact that they're going to be chased, and so she should get out of the driver's seat and get in the passenger seat so Agent Lightning could get in and drive away. As I backed out of the parking spot, suddenly there was a guy knocking on her window trying to ask me a question. So they did come out. She opened the window just enough for them to give her his card, and I told them I was in a hurry, and we drove off. So they were both laughing as they drove away. Anyway, there's a mystery shopping report that started out typical or maybe even bad with a big fat addendum and a possible bait and switch, and turned out to a pretty good deal, I'm thinking, for a $750 discount for any car today. Sounds pretty good, and on this Volvo, it sounds good. And that was not the door price, and actually it wasn't out the door price, because technically she signed the waiver saying that she didn't buy it today. The price wasn't any good, so I don't think they would hold them to that. I think it was just a negotiating mind game they played to try to get them to close today. And my guess would be if she came back anytime, they'd sell the car at that price. So there we are. We need to vote on this and see what the folks out there on the radio and Facebook and YouTube land think. And Rick is checking his iPhone now for his YouTube postings to see what sort of votes we may have.
We are getting them up here. First one we do is Mark from Palm Beach Gardens. He says, good product, $1,700, actually it was an $1,800 addendum, yet $2,500 discount on the sticker. So he says a B with a decent sales experience.
And I forgot to mention, I should have mentioned that $2,500 must have been a Volvo rebate. I don't.
Right, the $750.
I'm shame on me for not checking that, but I'm going to check that, and if I'm wrong, I'll let you know later.
Jonathan in Del Rey says, the Southeast Regional Market Adjustment Fee earned this dealership an F from me. The other hidden fraudulent fees and pushy salesmen helped with that grade. I have no time for overpriced cars and games. Then he says, I'll amend my grade due to discounts. Why this wasn't mentioned earlier baffles me. I'll give him a B. From an F to a B. Wow. Pretty good. And now we go to, let's see who we have here next. Tom Steckel, a C. No addendum, but standard dealer fees. Didn't like requiring a signature on the worksheet. Let's see, Clifford Manthe. What was the doc fees electronic preparation of car fees, even though it was below MSRP? But he didn't leave a grade. Joseph Kelleher, D plus, would have been higher without the high doc fee. Tim Gilliland, a little weird with the addendum, but okay. B. Mark Smith, I give him a C. Brian Sedlatko, I personally don't like Volvo. However, I'll give him a B. Johnny Z. Fradley, B, not bad. And, Clifford says, no vote, not enough information. Rocky Blockatiel, they get a B. Could have been higher if the salesman had been a little more experienced. They could have had an A with that one. Alrighty, let's see here. And Negan 1, maybe it's shock value. Take off the addendum and the discount. Sounds like an A to me, unless they try to get you in the F&I. Kirk in West by God, Virginia. Wallace Volvo, drop the addendum and add minus 750 without asking is refreshing. The only thing keeping me from an A plus is the addendum on the window in the first place. So just a solid A. Make sure we got no others incoming here. For me, I'm going to say an A. I think that was pretty amazing. That, they should get the addendum off of there, but I think an A.
Yeah. Nancy?
The mystery shop was refreshing. Whenever you get through, the beginning of it and what they were going to do, what caught my eye was the MSRP, also the rebate, and the chiropractor. I mean, seats are so important today. So for all of that, I give them an A.
Yeah, I tell you, I got to give them an A too. I get a little bit nervous about the doc fee and the addendum label and the other, but that's so standard in Florida. The fact that they took it off without even being asked to do, I got to give them an A. I don't think we have any Volvo dealers on our list, and now we have one. So if you folks out there anywhere and near South Florida and you're buying a Volvo, check with Wallace of Stewart and see if that holds true to the car that you would like to buy. But to buy a car today at what was that discount off of MSRP?
750 off.
That's just really shocking.
Yeah.
750 off MSRP.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes hand in hand with my column about now's a good time. It kind of endorses the idea now may be a good time to buy a new car. We've been talking for how many years now? Don't buy a new car. Don't buy a new car unless you have to. So finally, we can say we know for Volvo, if you want to buy a new Volvo, buy one from Wallace of Stewart in South Florida. And my guess is there's probably some other dealers out there that are starting to discount cars too.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many ways for you to do your homework, long before you go out and purchase a vehicle. And there's information at your fingertips between the internet and Consumer Report and so many other venues. You can find out exactly what you need to know, because we are getting close to being able to purchase a vehicle if you have to. Do we have time to get to your funnies? I think we have 2 minutes. Did you say, Jonathan? 2 minutes. I love the New York Times. Wheels.
No, I'm just you folks hear me joke about BMW drivers, and when we go home today, Nancy and I'll leave the studio, get in the car, and drive home, and I'll say inevitably that was a BMW that just swooped by me. I wonder where I got that, and people thought I was just being prejudiced. There's an official study by the University of California, Berkeley, that proves that BMW drivers are the most aggressive, nasty ones on the road. And we haven't got time now, but I'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, it's from the nuts and bolts of whatever moves you from the New York Times, Wheels. So check that out. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Rick?
One quick last note from Donovan. He says, I'd like to see you mystery shop the Polestar dealer in Palm Beach. It's also under Volvo, but it'd be nice to see how direct sales work under them.
Consider it done. For
Okay.
Donovan, anything.
Okay, folks, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We love your company, and you are a big part of the show, and we will be right back here next week at 8 o'clock. Have a great weekend.